Hi, in this episode we are going to be talking about how to expose your shots correctly in DaVinci Resolve. Now, while exposing your shots isn't the most glamorous of topics, it is the fastest way to make your production look really glamorous. So if this video is for you, let's jump straight in and let's focus on exposing your shots correctly. So here we are in DaVinci Resolve's color page. We have all the clips down here. You can note that these have already been transformed out to a Rec. 709, either by a color space transform or a LUT. If these aren't showing, you can go up to here and press clips and they will toggle on and off. And over here you can see that we have our scopes currently in our parade, and this will show us our red, green and blue channels. If you did want to learn a little bit more about reading scopes, check out the video up here, and that is how to read scopes in DaVinci Resolve, and we go into a really deep dive on how to read scopes and how to get the most out of them. Okay, great, moving on. Let's go over to this first node. Let's right click, let's add a label, and we're just going to put EXPO, and that's going to be for exposure. So now that we've done that, the next thing we are going to do is we're just going to have a look at our scopes to see where the image is sitting. As you can see, all the shadows are quite lifted, and there's quite a lot of headroom from the highlights and even to a certain extent the midtones. So let's go over to our lift, let's roll this down, and we're just going to leave the black point here just above 0. So that has pulled the whole image down. So let's go over to our gain and let's bring this up to about there. So now that we've done that, we're just going to go back to our lift, we're going to bring that down, and we're going to go to our gain and we're going to bring that up a little bit more. So let's turn that off and on, and you can see we've made quite a lot of headway with this image. So I do want to go to the gamma, I do want to bring this down, so we're just going to be gentle with this. So we're just going to pull that down, we're going to counter that by lifting the gain up, and we have some negative values. We're just going to go over to the lift and we're just going to bring that up a little bit. So let's turn that off and on again, and you can note that we've got quite a good exposure balance for this shot. If you wanted to do something about the shadows to get a proper black, what you could do is you could right click, add a node, and then let's label this one shadow balance. And then let's go over to our log wheels and we can just gently pull down this red channel to bring that into line with the blue and the green. Actually, the blue needs a touch. So let's move on to the second shot. You can see here that we've got red, and this is noted here, red wide gamut to Rec. 709. We're just going to go across to our first node. Let's have a look at our scope. So you can see all the shadows are quite near 0, but we've got a lot of headroom in the highlight and the image is feeling quite flat. So let's just go over to here. Let's label this one again. So node label EXPO for exposure. Because this is a shot of a nice sunny day, we've got quite a lot of headroom in the highlights. We're going to go to our gain and we're going to bring this up. Let's put that there, and then let's go to our lift and just bring that back down just so our black point is where it was before. So this image is looking really well balanced. So let's just turn our exposure off and on, and you can see that we've come a very long way in a very short space. Okay, so that's the first 2 clips. We're not going to go through all the clips. So the next one we're going to go to is an overly dark one, and the final one will be an overly bright one. So let's go to our overly dark one. You can see here this is a red wide gamut to Rec. 709. This clip has been shot at dusk, so naturally you'd expect it to be quite dark anyway. So we're just going to go over to here. We're going to right click, add label, press expo for exposure. And we're just going to go to our color wheels and we're going to lift our gain up. So if we go up to here, next we're going to go to our gamma and we're just going to bring this down. We're going to go back to the gain and push that back up. Now there is a slight little bit of lift in the shadows, so we're just going to go down there and bring those down very, very slightly. Like I said, this clip has been shot in the evening or at dusk. We do want to maintain that sort of feel for that. So let's just turn this off and on. And that image is looking really good. So here we are on a final shot. We've got a lady on a beach. It is overexposed. You can note that on the scopes here where everything is pushed up into the highlights and there's very little in the shadows. So we are just going to go over to our exposure node and we're going to go to our gamma and we're just going to bring this right down to about -8. You can see on the scopes, if we turn these on and off, we've got a better exposure balance in the image just by 1 node or 1 adjustment. If we wanted to, we could just go here. We can right click, add that, and we can put shadow B or shad B for shadow balance because we've got a slightly lifted black. So if you did want to neutralize those, go into the log and just bring this down very gently to about -4. So let's just turn this off and on, and you can see that all we've really done is balance those shadows very slightly. So that's all we've got time for today. If you did get anything out of this video, please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't done already, and do check out the video here of how to read your scopes. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.